Hi, welcome. This is the third and final session of the Indie Filmmakers Guide to the Internet. The session today is called Adventures in Independence, and we're really going to be looking at how to be independent as a filmmaker. And today, I think, is a really amazing time to make films. Whatever everybody's telling you about, that there's no money, and there's no way you can make a film or get it out to an audience, is not true. I think it's fantastic because you now have tools to make your films that are totally accessible to most people, and now you have the means to get your films out to the audiences you are making your films for. So today we've got two filmmakers who are doing just that, who work very independently. M.Strange, to my left, is the filmmaker who made an award-winning film called We Are the Strange, and Timo Vuonsola from Finland made a film called Starek in the Perkinen. Now, both of them are going to give case studies, and they're going to last about 20-25 minutes, and they're going to go into detail about how they work. Then we're going to do some questions afterwards. But really, this is a really great opportunity to ask, whatever you want to at the end. We're going to do quite a lot of questions, probably about half an hour's worth. What's really interesting about both of them, these aren't just sort of one-off examples, they're actually onto their second feature, so they're going to talk first about how they worked on their first feature and now how that's led to how they work on their second one. So M.'s going to go first.
Hello. So, this is really, you're going to get two presentations for the price of one. And if you didn't pay, if you snuck in here, then you get two presentations for the price of none. Oh, I can rhyme, I'm so smart. So, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go through a case study and actually show you what I did on my last feature film. And then I'm going to show you some advanced tips on how to build online audiences. So, I'm going to show you what I did, and then from what I learned from that, I'm going to pass that all on to you. So, it may be a ton of information, but if you see some stuff on here, I have a lot of my presentations online, or feel free to ask me questions. So, firstly, the reason I'm here is that in 2007, I finished an animated feature film called We Are the Strange. I made it using dolls and computers and pretty much anything I could. And I did it for under $20,000. It was just me working in a room. And I made this film. Here, I'll just show you a couple clips from it so you can see what kind of stuff I'm talking about. So really, you've heard for a while now that people telling you that the tools to make your film are there and that you can make professional level films. And so there really isn't a question as to whether you can make stuff that looks good enough. But the big challenge is actually finding people to watch it and then making money off of it. So again, this was made in a bedroom for under $20,000, but when it premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, all the reviewers thought it was like a $70 million Hollywood movie. So I kind of went out to do this to prove that, it doesn't really matter how much money you have or what equipment you have. You can compete with the biggest organizations or biggest studios or whatever you want. So the real challenge is reaching out to people and finding and building an audience and then somehow making money so you can make another film. Because just making one and being in debt for the rest of your life, I don't think is very fun. So what do? There's all these tools out there. So my first thing was to start a blog. And a lot of times us as filmmakers, maybe we just want to be filmmakers, right? We just want to write, direct, whatever we want to do. We don't want to write in a blog or speak in front of a webcam. But this is kind of stuff that I've realized that it's stuff that you have to do in today's new market or new age, filmmaking. And if you don't do it, you're really not going to have an audience. And you're going to have to rely on the old system, which is fine. The old system works fine, but it's not very open to you look at my stuff, it's not very mainstream. So I entered the Sundance Film Festival and got in there, but the way I started building an audience, this is just a little example with this film. So I'm sure, have you ever heard the term crowdsourcing? So it's utilizing large numbers of people to do tasks that would be impossible or really expensive for you to do yourself. So I had a YouTube channel. I'd go on there and talk about stuff, and I asked people if they wanted to be an extra in my film to send me a photo of themselves. So all these people sent me their photos, and then I photoshopped them, and then they actually made it in the film. So this serves two purposes that you can utilize crowdsourcing for. It got work done for the film that I would have had to do, but I didn't, and it starts your word of mouth promotion, or starts building your word of mouth army. Because, of course, what do you think all these people did? They went on their blog, told all their friends, hey, I'm in this movie, you should go check it out. So it's a good start for that. So one of the key principles I always, held close to me as I went along is that you need to give to your audience, give them things. So like, I had a Halloween costume contest, I told people to dress up like characters from the film, and if they won, I would send them a autographed DVD or something when the movie was done. So the way I look at it, which I'll get into more later, is that, I'm working online, and a lot of people, a lot of filmmakers don't like the online audience because, you can post something on YouTube, and then, a bunch of 12-year-olds will be like, you're gay, die, and stuff, which is hard. And you don't want to have to deal with that. So I kind of look at it like the internet is this amorphous mass that's just up, and it had like 500,000 views, and that helped my YouTube audience grow. And then I did get into the Sundance Film Festival, which supposedly launches you into magical Hollywood and lines of cocaine and all that. So when we got in there, I was like, oh, what a great story. This guy from the internet, now he's going to go to Sundance and then to Hollywood, blah, 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 right? So, but no one had seen my film because it wasn't finished yet. So they just assumed, oh, it's probably like Pixar or something. It's animation, that's for kids. That's, it can't be that weird or bad, whatever. So, against my wishes, well, kind of my own, my family, my friends are like, oh, you can't go to Sundance by yourself. You have to hire all these people that you're supposed to hire, right? So I gave in and, hired all these people, so I had this team of people. Then we had the world premiere, which is supposed to be this big deal, right? So at the world premiere, within the first 5 minutes, half the audience left. Just walked out. Like people going, I want my money back, this is horrible, right? So in the old way, if I just had the old system, I would have been screwed, right? But at the same time, younger people were going online and talking about how much they love the film because they, had seen it. So one of my friends, who's actually like this painter guy, he had this idea, again, because we were going to use the internet, he goes, why don't we pretend we're making a documentary about the worst films ever made, and we'll get the people that are walking out of the theater and ask them to say all these horrible things about the film. So that later on we can take that and edit it against the young people saying they love it to create some kind of controversy online. So I'll show actually a video from that later. But so in the end, after all that, even though people walked out, whatever, I was offered like theatrical deals for the film. But by that point, I was already so like fed up with the system and just the people I was dealing with. And I had seen the potential online, which gives me total creative freedom, so I wasn't very willing to give up the rights to everything for 17 years for the entire universe. Right? Because, maybe humans, not many humans like this stuff, but, aliens could totally, So, yeah. So, because a lot of times I find, there's two worlds, and you probably see it here at the talent campus. You may see people speaking and talking about the business, which is this big sphere that's been around forever, and it works, it's a big machine, moves slowly, and it's powerful. And then the small sphere, so I look at myself in this little small one. So what I found as I was going along, people were telling me that I should do things because it would be good for my career, right? And they were saying, my career in the business. Because they were totally oblivious to, or maybe it didn't exist yet, but, this little sphere, because you almost have to write your own rules. So. And the way I look at it is like I was saying before, when I'm showing you the stuff that I made, when you see Timo's work, there's no question that your production can be at a very, very high level. There's no doubt whether, it's as good as stuff you see coming from anywhere. But for independent filmmakers, really distribution is the final curve. It's the last thing. It's still this door that, it's really hard to get through. But as you can see in that picture, we're starting to bang on it, and the guys in suits are starting to freak out and cry, no. So. Yeah, so then you can get the turkey full of money. There is actually a turkey full of money. Did you know that? When you sign a movie deal, they give you a turkey full of money. But, yeah. So what did I do? So I walked away from the deals, whatever.
I had my stuff, I had people on YouTube, so I made these DVDs, I authored them, I designed them, I did everything. And then I connected with this little DVD company called FilmBaby that anybody could use. But again, using crowdsourcing, I went on YouTube and said, hey, does anybody want to translate this into their language, right? So within 2 weeks, I had the whole movie translated into 17 languages. So on the DVD, I could put it out in 17 languages. And then later, as I'll show you, I would put it on YouTube in 17 languages as well. So the first week, I put it on sale with no P&A budget. There was no commercials, no print, no nothing. I didn't do really anything to promote it but make YouTube videos where I said, hey, it's out now, so if you want to buy it, you can. So within the first week, we sold 400, I think it made like $15,000 in the first week just from people on YouTube. And it went on sale internationally in retail stores in July of 2008, which I'll get into more of that.